Okay, this is my 2000 Ranger. I think the charger here is taking a dump, so I'm going to change it out. This is for my own personal use as a library or record to reference. So if you use this information, use it at your own risk. I'm not conveying anything here. I'm just showing myself again if I ever need to do this, how to do it. Alright, so what I'm going to do to start with is unclip these cables out of the side of the charger. To get this one out, you pull up this red deal here and pull out. This one you just pull it. Oops, something came out of here. Rubber boot. And then this one you push the back of it and pull it. Another rubber boot came out. Put that back in there so we don't lose it. Alright. So then we're going to take a 10 millimeter. I love using, here's a little trick I use. I use an impact wrench. I wouldn't recommend doing this. I wouldn't tighten down the bolts with this, but it's great for zipping them off. So I've got a little 3/8 socket end for my impact wrench. This is 10 millimeter. So I'll put this on here, and then I have a little container to throw my bolts to so I don't lose them. This one's got 3 bolts. Oops. Take that part off. Here's the third one. Now these things we can just let them hover here. We don't need to take it off completely. There's 2 more on this. I think this is the DC to DC converter here. Don't quote me on that though. Another great little tool is I've got this little telescopic magnet here. This one came apart on me. This is great for somebody like me that's got big hands and can't get in there to get these things when I loosen them up. Alright, here's the 4 for the DC to DC converter. That's what I think it is. And then there's 2 more. Oh, that thing's tight. You actually have to use a socket on that. Ratchet. Try loosening this one in case it's tight too. So there's one on this side, it looks like it's just a holding bracket, and then there's another one over here that holds this wiring loom. Zip them off again with this. Now we've got 4 more that hold the charger in. One. 3. There's one way back here. Tight again. Well, I'm going to have to use my wrench again. That one's in a precarious spot there. So use my wobble socket maybe. So I put a wobble socket on there. This thing, I might have to take this bracket off that runs across here. No, it's still on there. We'll save that for putting it back on. And I'll zip it off this pack. Magnet to get it out of there. It's hard to get my fingers in there. Oh. My magnet fell apart on me. I pulled it too hard and the end pulled out. Alright, we got this one here that one more in the front I need to take off. Because I'm going to have to pull this one cable that's connected from the charger right here out. The only way to get that is to take the cap off. Right. So we'll take these 4 off. You don't need to take the screws all the way up. Pull this lid. And then pull this red thing up. be right back. Okay, we got that booger out. This is what the problem was, is this thing had opened up, and it holds the nut from, so you don't have to put a wrench on the bottom down below. So I pinched it back in there, and I'll have to put it up in there when we put the new charger in. Alright, so now we've got everything dismantled up. We got one more bolt back here that I didn't pull out. Here's our trusty magnet. Pull it out. Alright, so we can just pull this charger back. There's a hole in the fiberglass. There's a fan for this thing that sits down in. So, yep, pull it over that fan over that hole. Just set these guys up here on the top. Oh, I forgot to take the ground off too. There's a ground wire right there that needs to be removed. I think it's like a 5/16. Yep. Charger's out. Here's that thing I disconnected from the DC to DC converter. Here's my clean-looking charger. The reason this thing is so clean is I used aluminum navel jelly. So if you want to clean yours up before you put it in, use aluminum navel jelly. Works real well. Makes it look like brand new. It would be helpful if I had two people to do this, but I don't. So work it in here. Don't want to lose that ground wire. There we go. Alright, so we're going to put everything back together the way we took it apart. But this time I'm not going to use the impact to tighten things up so we don't strip it out. Now that I've got those screws in, now I'll put these in too because it just makes it easier to get your hands in here. down there. That's a 10 millimeter again. So I'm tightening this bracket that goes across to this other device here. I'm not sure exactly what it is. Tightening that one down. Not too tight because you're going into aluminum too. You don't want to over tighten these things and strip them out. It's just aluminum, which is a soft metal. And this is that wire loom over here on this other side. And there's these 4 bolts into this DC to DC. Remember not to over tighten these. That's again why we're not using that impact, because we don't want to over tighten them. We gotta plug this thing in. Here's that cable that's from the charger that needs to go back into this. You'll see it only goes in one way. It's a special type of a clip. If I can get my hands on it. So you kind of have to push that red thing down at the same time. It shoves it in there. Alright, now the cover. We'll put this cover back on like so. And that holds the sucker into place too. So. Tighten these. That's good enough. Okay. Now we're going to put these 3 in. From my other one still, so I'll use that and I'll look for that other one I dropped down in there. Not too tight. plug these guys back in. This one you got to pull this red deal up. See these grooves that this slides into? So that's how that slides in. Push this guy in here. That rubber boot is not going in right. That rubber boot was still sitting in there from the other truck. Alright, now we'll put these 4 mounts and hold it down. This one's a little bit of a pain because that thing fell off. Well, I don't need to show you that. The 4 more bolts that hold this down to that fiberglass, and then there's a ground back here. So I'll tighten that down, put the 4 bolts in, and we'll test it out.